The Big Boy train is an insane feat of engineering and is frankly one of my favorite engines, which is not just because of the name Big Boy, though that is a really funny name for a train to have. And this train is currently on a countrywide tour, where on July 4th and 5th it'll have a special event in Philadelphia and then start heading back home. So the Big Boy train is a type of steam engine that was made in the 1940s for the Union Pacific, and there were 25 of them built. Today, only 8 of them still exist, and there is one that still works, which is the largest and most powerful working steam locomotive in the world. Even when you look at all engines that have existed across time, not just currently working, the Big Boy is still the longest and heaviest reciprocating steam locomotive ever built. And what I mean by reciprocating steam locomotives are those that are your typical steam engines that you think of. The way that they work is that the fire heats the water inside of the boiler, and as that water boils, it becomes steam. Then the engineer will open the throttle, allowing the steam to escape the boiler and travel through pipes to the piston cylinders. The steam is sent to one side of the piston, pushing it one way. Then other steam is redirected to the other side of the piston, pushing it back, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. That piston is attached to a piston rod, then a main rod, which is attached to a crank pin on one of the driving wheels. After the steam has finished pushing the piston, it is released up through the smokestack of what we know steam engines for, which also partially helps actually with keeping the fire hotter because it helps pull air through the boiler tubes. So back to just how much of a big boy this train is, the weight of this engine alone is 772,250 pounds. When adding its tender, which is the car that contains the fuel and water for the engine to keep running, it can get up to 1,208,750 pounds, which outweighs an entire Boeing 747. They could go up to 22,000 pounds of coal and 12,000 gallons of water every hour. Its length is 133 feet, which is over half the length of a Boeing 747. Also, when they renovated the engine in 2019, they actually switched the fuel that it uses from coal to number 5 oil so that they could run it for longer. So for this incredibly long and heavy train, that requires a lot of wheels. One of the ways that locomotives are classified is by their wheel arrangements, and Big Boy is a 4884, and it is the only locomotive made with this arrangement. When talking about wheel arrangements, your first number is the number of wheels on the leading truck. A leading truck is the chassis underneath the front of the train, and these wheels are not powered. The purpose of leading wheels is to be free-rolling wheels to help the engine be stable on those curves and to be extra support for that absolutely massive boiler. The last number is the number of wheels on the trailing truck. This is again another chassis, but underneath the back of the engine, where the crew cabin and the firebox are, again to give that extra support and to keep that engine stable. The middle number, or numbers, are the driving wheels, which are the wheels that are connected to the pistons I talked about earlier and are the ones actually moving the train. So the 4884 means that it has a total of 16 driving wheels just to pull it in any freight it's hauling along. Obviously, because of just how long this is, there is a swivel point in the chassis between the two sets of driving wheels. Thus, that's why they're separated into 8 versus 16, and it can hinge underneath the boiler to actually curve with the rail. Now, why would a company even want a steam locomotive this big? What could possibly be the reason? Well, in the 1930s, Union Pacific released another large engine, the Challenger, which was a 4664, so very similar. For most of the route it ran on, it had a grade of 0.82%. What grade means is the elevation angle of a surface. So for 0.82%, that is approximately an increase of about 1 inch in height every 10 feet. But the problem was that from Ogden into the Wasatch Mountain Range, it could reach a grade of 1.14%, which is approximately equivalent to 1 inch increase every 7.3 feet, which doesn't seem a lot to us. It's actually less of an incline than a wheelchair ramp. But for trains that are hauling thousands of tons of freight, this actually required them to do double heading. doubling, which means connecting two engines together at the front of the train just to get more power. This obviously then slowed service down because they were doubling up engines just to get over. Thus, the Big Boy was designed. And this train is so cool. And like I said at the beginning, it is currently on a countrywide tour. But countrywide really means very much not the entire country, and going from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Pennsylvania and back. And I get, of course, that it would be difficult to be running a train like this everywhere. I mean, the amount of fuel that it goes through is absolutely insane. Another issue is what railroads are controlled by what railroad companies. Union Pacific does not reach to the East Coast, so for them to get over here, they probably had to make an agreement with another major railroad company, which, according to the railroad company map, I'm pretty sure that they would have had to partner with Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern doesn't go into most of the New England states. The company that would have been able to get them into at least Massachusetts is CSX Transportation, which again does miss most of the New England states, but it does at least cover Massachusetts and actually goes near Boston, which I mourn. The fact that they are not going to here in Boston, because come on, we are so known for our trains. The T-Line, man. Trains are such a massive part of Boston culture as it is for New York City, but the closest that they've got to us is Scranton, Pennsylvania, a 4.5 to 6 hour drive. So if you are in the Boston area or literally anywhere else in Massachusetts or even in any of the New England states, and you want them to come to New England with Big Boy, please share and comment and tag them. I know that they aren't going to change the schedule for this tour, but maybe they'll do another tour again in the future, because I would love to see Big Boy, the longest, heaviest, largest operational steam locomotive in the world. And I'm sure that you guys would also like to see it too. I know I summoned a bunch of other train lovers with my Green Line video, and I really want to see Big Boy. It's such a cool engine.